Ladies and gentlemen, it's been about 2 weeks since the NFL draft. We are sorry we have kept you waiting with this video. Haven't been waiting as long as Shedeur Sanders had to wait to get picked in the draft, though. We'll talk about that later on. A lot to discuss today with the NFL draft, including our teams. Now, unfortunately, we are only joined by one co-host today. Our third co-host is unavailable. He's a 49ers fan, so we won't be talking about the Niners too much today. But I am once again joined by my boy Qusic. You want to do a little intro, Q? The people should know you by now, but take it away, my man.
Yep, it's Qusic. In some circles, I'm known as Quiche, and I am just psyched up for this upcoming season. It's been a blast watching the draft, forgetting everything about last season, and it's just time to do it all over again.
Yeah, man, a very special draft for you as well, being in your home of Green Bay. The first ever time it's been hosted in Green Bay. Yo, I can't lie, I've got to give a round of applause to the Green Bay fans to start this off because it was a very entertaining watch and seeing you guys react to all the picks. Welcome back to the show, though, man. It feels like it's been, like 6 months since our last episode or something? In fact, no, it was the Super Bowl, so that was like 2 months ago. But yeah, man, I can't wait to get back into the new season. If you're new to the show, this is the most electrifying show on YouTube. We unfortunately still don't have a name, so for now it's going to be the Nameless NFL show. See what I did there? Because Nameless Oden. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button if you are new. And yeah, man, I can't wait for the new season. Just before the season drops, hopefully our third co-host will be with us, the boy Key, aka Crab. And we're going to do some predictions for the division winners, things like that, and then get into, of course, our usual schedule, regularly scheduled programming, which is the weekly picks videos for each of the fixtures. By the way, the fixture list should be coming out soon, so we're going to get to see who's playing who and when. Can't wait for that. But today is about the draft. Today is about the draft. If you are new, like I've just introduced Q, he is a Green Bay fan. I have two teams, the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys. There's no rules. If you want to know why I support two teams, ask me in the comments, and I won't reply. But let's get into the video, man. So, big picks in the first round. Cam Ward going number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. I feel like everybody on the planet knew that pick was going to happen. If you put $100,000 on a bet for Cam Ward to be took by the Titans the day before the draft, I think it returned like $100,000.50 or something like that. The odds were ridiculous. But yeah, man, I don't know too much about Cam Ward. I can't lie. I'm not the biggest college ball watcher, Q. I know you're a bigger fan of college ball than I am. I know that you play the game at least. I don't know how much you actually do watch of the ball on a college level. I watched a lot of Ohio State last year, I can't lie. The Ohio State University, because of that boy Jeremiah Smith. He's a dog. I can't wait for him to get to the league. A few The Ohio State University players were taken in this draft, which we'll mention. But yeah, how much college ball do you actually watch?
Not a lot, but you know, it's not about the college production. Once you get into the NFL, it's what you can do from there.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, he had a great season at Miami, though, and you see a lot of his highlights with the nonchalance. He's just practically standing straight still, looking around, finally waiting for somebody to throw the ball to. So he's calm under pressure, but the NFL is a whole different level. We'll see how he can handle it there.
I'm not too sure if during an NFL game standing in the pocket or a farming is the best idea. We'll see how he does on the NFL stage, though. I'm really looking forward to the Titans this season. They've just signed also Tyler Lockett from, I believe, free agency. They didn't trade for him, right? That was free agency. So there's a veteran presence to get in the wide receiver room. Very nice guy, Tyler Lockett, from everything that I've seen about him as well. He'll be a very nice character to have over there in Tennessee. But I feel like nobody mentioned Cam Ward because everyone knew that this pick was going to happen. And then right after that, we had a trade come in. We had the Browns trade out. We had the Jacksonville Jaguars coming into pick number 2. And that was like the biggest story. We didn't even get to really see no Cam Ward celebrations, anything like that during the draft because it was like, oh my God, a trade like this high up in the draft. You know, I think Jacksonville moved from 5 to 2, wasn't it? Duval. So they ended up picking Travis Hunter. Now, he was probably the top prospect in this draft. If somebody said pick one player from this draft you want to see play, it's Travis Hunter. Everyone knows about Travis Hunter. He wants to play defensive back. He wants to play wide receiver at the same time every single snap in the NFL season. Do you think he can do it, Q?
I mean, I don't know about every single snap, but he's definitely probably going to get some reps on both sides of the ball. And, down there in Florida, it's even though Jacksonville isn't the greatest team, I think he's more psyched to go to Florida than he is middle of Ohio in Cleveland. And it's going to be great to see probably for the first time since like the 40s, 50s Iron Man athlete days, a guy on both sides of the ball more often than not. And we'll see what he ends up with for offensive and defensive rookie of the year votes. It'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, well, on that note, gamble responsibly, of course. We do like to gamble for fun over here, so we sometimes bring up odds and things like that. If that triggers anybody because you have a gambling addiction, I'm sorry to hear that. Get good, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Gamble responsibly, and don't gamble if you don't know ball. That way you won't end up in a hole. With that being said, shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. What the hell? What the helly? What the helly Burton? Cash me out last night against the Cavs. That's my guy right there. Anyway, back to the NFL. What were we talking about? Travis Hunter, Duval. That's right. Yeah, we haven't seen anybody play both sides of the ball like that since, Coach Primetime Deion Sanders did it for like 9 games in a season one time, I think, but never every single snap for an entire season. Then if the Jags make the playoffs, he would have to do the playoffs and Super Bowl. That would be possibly one of the greatest feats that humanity has ever seen. I think if he could pull that off, we would have to study his body after the season and understand how he managed to do that. Matter of fact, if he can do that, we should send him against the gorilla. With that being said, 257 men had their lives changed this week getting picked in the NFL draft. 257 men, let's cut that down to 100 versus one gorilla. Who wins? I just have to throw this in there. We'll get back to Travis Hunter in the draft in a minute, but I need to talk about this. Who wins? The men or the gorilla?
I mean, it depends what you give the guys, bro. If we're letting weapons, we got the gorilla, no problem. But if it's fist to fist, close quarters combat, it's wraps. I think the gorilla's got us beat.
Yeah, no weapons are allowed. I believe this is a straight up fist fight. But, like, can you imagine Travis Hunter, though, playing offense and defense against the gorilla? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he can do it in the NFL season for a whole season, I think he's got a good chance. I'm taking the 100 men, by the way, against the gorilla. Like, you know what I mean? Let me pick the 100 men. Let me pick the gorilla, too. Let me pick which gorilla we're going to fight. I'm going to pick the smallest one I can find. I'm going to go look at the tape and find a gorilla who maybe while he was in college picked up like an ACL injury or something. Maybe the gorilla was a track athlete, he's got an ACL. And then we're going to get John Jones as the first man out there. Front leg kicks only. We're just going to target that ACL knee and then the gorilla can't move and then we're going to win. With that being said though, I'm back in the 100 men. Let's get back to the NFL. That's just a side tangent. Get used to that during the season. Travis Hunter though, very surprised that Jacksonville obviously made that move. They traded their 2nd round pick for this draft and next year's 1st round pick, I believe it was. So obviously betting a lot on Travis Hunter. I believe they said he's going to start on offense primarily as a wide receiver, which from all the talk I heard about Travis Hunter, people were saying he would start as a corner primarily, but apparently Jacksonville want him to play wide receiver primary, and then he can get a few snaps at defensive back as he learns that package. Obviously, it's so tough to learn both sides of the ball, never mind it's tough to learn one side of the ball, never mind two. There's a whole different scheme and package that you've got to get, taught and involved with. Only thing I will say, though, with him going to Jacksonville, they already have a dog out there with Brian Thomas Jr. So at wide receiver, Travis Hunter's going to be the 2-piece anyway. If he went somewhere like Cleveland, he would probably be the number 1. I know they've got Jerry Jeudy still out there, the veteran, but, and Jerry Jeudy, he put up 1,000 yards last season, so I don't want to disrespect him too much, but like, if Travis Hunter went there, he'd probably be the number 1, and then he'd probably have to play everywhere. He'd probably have to play quarterback at that point for Cleveland. We'll talk about Cleveland quarterbacks later on, though, for sure. 3rd pick in the draft was the New York Giants, Abdul Carter. That was pretty much set in stone as well. We knew that one for a while where he would be going. Big fan of Abdul Carter. I used to play defensive line myself. I was an edge rusher. So I always do love to see a good, man off the edge. Is that a pause moment? I don't know. We're trying to be more professional this season, get ourselves a sponsorship deal. So we might have to leave pause at home. But that was pause, bro. I said a man off the edge, getting edging men's crazy, bro. You know what I mean? But Abdul Carter, absolute dog. He wore that number 11. They call it the Sticks down in Penn State. Obviously, being a Cowboys fan, very familiar with that number and what that produces, Micah Parsons. But yeah, man, excited to see him. Did you? What's your thoughts on his jersey number situation?
Yeah, I think he's probably going to go with some combination of the two, like 45. I have no idea why the hell he was like 56. Yeah, that'll be the first one I go for. They'll definitely let me have that one. Like one of the greatest defensive players of all time wasn't there. The only one I'm confused about that was Phil Simms 11, because Phil Simms himself seemed like he was fine with it, and his
Mm,
family's like, nah, not for us, sorry. I'm like, how can you
mm.
override the dude who actually wore the number?
Yeah, I don't get why his family have a say in it. I do respect him going for LT's number, but it's LT, bro. You know what I mean? We don't even say his name. He goes by initials. Like you can't
You're not
take
that
that.
guy,
I
pal.
respect the confidence to be like that's the type of player I want to become, especially for the Giants. You know, represent that threat. But it's LT. The man made two positions famous: outside linebacker and left tackle. He put two positions on the map. It was only after LT that the left tackle became, yo, this is a primary position that we need to protect, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what number he does land with. Currently, you can buy jerseys for the rookies, like on pre order. And I've got a list here. He's number 7 in pre orders for the jerseys. So that's very interesting, even though he doesn't have a number yet. Number 8, one of your guys, which we'll talk about later on. I don't want to, go too fast. But Matthew Golden down at number 8 on that top 10 jerseys list. We'll get to him. But any other big picks in the top 5? Obviously, Cleveland traded down then to pick 5 with Jacksonville. We had Will Campbell go at number 4 to the Patriots. Big fan of him. You know, offensive line is a type of position where I just don't care about. I can't lie. You show me a highlight package of an O-lineman, I'm not going to watch it. I'll watch it with my eyes closed. But obviously, O-line, very important position. Protect the quarterback. You know, we've just mentioned the LT and things like that. And obviously, Drake May needed that protection over in New England. But I was a fan of Will Campbell's post-draft interview. He started crying on stage, said he would die to protect Drake May. I mean, hopefully nobody's going to try and kill him. Hopefully blocking for Drake May will be enough. You don't need to go and die for the man. But yeah, so any comments on O-lineman in general?
I mean, again, it's kind of tough transitioning from college to NFL and just all these comps you see with these different guys. They really have to do everything they can in order to live up to the hype. But, I'm going to war with Will Campbell too after that interview. And I'm sure Drake May is real happy because most of the games he was running for his life.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I think the Patriots in general had a really good draft class. But moving on to that number 5 spot, well, a lot of people, myself, I say a lot of people, I always speak for other people, but I'm speaking for myself here. I thought with that 5th pick, you know what? They've traded out. They didn't want Travis Hunter that much. So they gave up the pick. The Browns, what do they need the most? They need a quarterback. I thought in this pick number 5, I thought I was going to hear Shedeur Sanders' name. We did hear Shedeur Sanders' name alongside the number 5, but it was in round 5. The man had to wait till day 3 of the draft to get picked. Browns picking up a defensive tackle at pick number 5 to go alongside Myles Garrett, which I guess is nice help for him. You know, Myles Garrett was getting double teamed every single snap because you didn't really have to care about anybody else. I mean, bro, send Myles Garrett against the Gorilla. How's the Gorilla going to block Myles Garrett, bro? Play the Gorilla left tackle. The quarterback's getting sacked still by Myles Garrett, bro. You kidding me? That man has been jacked his whole life. But we need to leave this Gorilla thing alone, bro. I'm gonna bring this up for like every draft pick. Will Campbell, he could probably block the Gorilla. But yeah, I was very surprised that they didn't take a quarterback there at pick number 5. I don't really know if there's any other first round draft picks we want to talk about. Do we want to jump straight to our teams?
I mean, the only other guy I could think of is Jeanty at 6.
True.
He's the best running back in the whole class. He could probably run straight through that gorilla and, almost breaking records in the college level. He's my Heisman Trophy winner. I know Travis Hunter was doing both sides of the ball, but if you're the best at your position and you're just completely destroying the competition, especially when you're playing against number 1 Oregon and putting up 3 touchdowns, 200 yards, and just doing all that kind of stuff. You're the Heisman in my eyes. But I guess I didn't see it, and he's probably going to have that chip on his shoulder going into his rookie year, and he's probably going to be putting up some big numbers in the big leagues as well.
For sure,
But
I'm
outside of the
expecting.
top,
Go for it. Go.
I was going to say outside of the top 6, I think I think it's just more offensive, defensive linemen, which is great for those teams, but not really my bag, unfortunately.
Yeah, nah, true. Every time I heard a tackle got picked, I'm like, okay, great, you need these type players, but like I want to see the highlight packages. You know what I mean? Speaking of highlight packages, you just mentioned a man there who I'm sure is going to have a lot of highlights this season. Ashton Jeanty going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Very disappointed that Jerry Jones didn't try and make a move to get him, but I don't know what you would have to give up to move that far up in the draft, you know, to try and get a player like him. But he would have been a great running back to have in Dallas, because right now we are struggling with that position. But yeah, man, he's going out there with Pete Carroll with the Raiders. You know, I'm getting shades of the old school Seattle Seahawks, bro. You got Jeanty and at running back. Marshawn Lynch is now isn't he like a shareholder with the Raiders? So he's going to be there. He'll probably be coaching from the sidelines with Ashton Jeanty, giving him some pointers. But also some of the picks the Raiders made on defense too. I feel like they're trying to bring that Legion of Boom back, and I feel like Pete Carroll might have a decent team on his hands in before the 5-10 in the first 15 weeks. But I still expect Jeanty to be a big player for them this year. He's probably going to get about 20 carries a game. Geno Smith in at quarterback, but who do they have to throw to? Brock Bowers at tight end, but what receivers do they even have over there in Vegas? Nobody?
I don't know,
I
man.
can't name a single one off the top of my head right now.
All the time. I don't think I can name one either. I was gonna say Jacoby Myers, but I don't even know if he's still there, man.
There we go. Michael Crabtree. Nah, yeah. So last season they had a rookie break records in, obviously, I've just mentioned his name. What was his name? The white boy.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Yeah. So can Brock have a great season with Ashton Jeanty? You know, that's an exciting little offense going there. Speaking of the tight end position now, of 2 tight ends picked in the first round, one of them to the Chicago Bears, one of them to the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Bears were picked 10. They went first and they picked, take it away, Q. What was his name? Colson Loveland, right? Yeah, there we go. You see, I had Tyler Warren written down and I forgot to write the other guy's name down. So I was very surprised with this tight end pick that the Bears didn't pick Tyler Warren, because looking at the tape, I thought Tyler Warren would have fit Ben Johnson's offense a lot better than what I saw from Loveland. I saw a lot of trick plays and things, and Tyler Warren moving around in different positions. And I feel like obviously Ben Johnson, we saw what he did with the Lions last year. Sam Laporta, a big part of that offense last year for them too, at the tight end position. And I thought they would have went for Tyler Warren, but they've gone with Colson Loveland. So fair play for that pick. How are you feeling about the Bears? They're in your division, of course, being a Packers fan. You scared?
Yeah. I mean, they got the quarterback with probably some of the most potential in the whole league, so there's definitely a little bit of worry there. The thing with the Loveland pick is I was totally expecting them to go with Warren, because like you said, we saw all those trick plays and stuff like that in Detroit. And now I'm wondering if that was solely on the mind of Dan Campbell. He's like, hey, I got some crazy shit I need you to draw up here for me. And he's going, I want to say kind of more basic level with Loveland. Not like there's anything wrong with that, but like you said, Warren can do all these trick plays and open up the playbook more for Chicago. And I'm wondering if that was something that was more Dan Campbell's idea rather than Ben Johnson, or if it's just another gimmick where they're drafting the guy who you wouldn't think would be able to do all that, and then once they pull it out, it's even more unexpected.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see the tight end sneak come into their playbook as well this year, like you guys were running with Tucker Kraft last year. Maybe it's something along the lines like on tape that we didn't see, like run blocking. Maybe he's a better run blocking tight end than Warren was, and they want it, or even pass blocking if they set like a full max protect. Because obviously last season we saw Caleb Williams talk about running for his life. He was out there scrambling to stay on his feet and throw that ball away. So maybe it's even something like that. But the Colts got a solid pick themselves with Tyler Warren there. What do the Colts even have going on? Who've they got at QB? Anthony Richardson. And didn't they sign because Joe Flacco's gone now? He went to the Browns. Anthony Richardson, can he stay fit? Who?
They got Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones.
Oh, for real?
One hell of a quarterback war in that room. Anthony Richardson versus Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's a competition to be. That's a competition to see who can be more terrible. Right over there, like 2 quarterbacks who are good and terrible. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. Another tight end, this wasn't first round, but the Jets got themselves a tight end too. A lot of people thought that they would have took one in the first round. They went with Membu instead. Apologies, I can't remember how they pronounce his name properly, but they picked up Mason Taylor in, I believe, the second round. But let's not go too far ahead of ourselves here. I just wanted to talk about the tight ends. One big story from the first round that I thought was very interesting. The Falcons picked themselves up an edge rusher. Then they traded back into the first round, gave up next year's first round pick. I think that was with the Rams, and they picked themselves up another edge rusher. Now they picked up Jalen Walker with that first pick. A lot of mock drafts and things that I saw, and from all the chatter I'd heard around the Atlanta Falcons, James Pierce Jr. was the pick that they were going to go with. I guess they expected Jalen Walker to already be off the board by then. But when he was on the board, they picked him, and from what I'd heard, James Pierce was the guy who was going to Atlanta. They had great meetings and stuff, so I wasn't too surprised that they did trade back in to get him because they really liked him. But still, when you see a trade in the first round, you never normally see that unless it's for like a quarterback, So I was very surprised to see that. Giving up next year's first, I guess they're banking it all on this year, picking up 2 edge rushers. I mean, last year, I watched quite a lot of Falcons games last year because I'm a big fan of Michael Penix. He wears the same number that I have around my neck right now. I spoke about him a lot in our NFL picks videos last year. Big fan of Michael Penix. That offense is solid. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Michael Penix. They can score 7-11 points a game, but they were conceding 8-11 points a game. You know what I mean? Because their defense, there was just no pressure. So to pick up 2 edge rushers in the first round here, I do like that move from the Falcons. How you feeling on the Falcons, Q, and that first round trade? Were you surprised to see that?
Oh yeah, I mean, you've seen the Rams draft strategy throughout most of the years leading up to their Super Bowl is fuck them picks. Who needs them? And now they're getting a new regime that feels like they're capitalizing and saving all those picks. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the future, especially the post Stafford era. But man, that's the one thing that the Falcons needed since probably Vic Beasley and Grady Jarrett is just the pass rush. Ever since Grady got 6 sacks against Dak Prescott, I don't think I've ever heard of another one of their players getting a sack, it seems like.
We have to bring that up.
Yeah.
Was that necessary?
Yeah. I mean, it just has to show how long ago it was, man.
Yeah. Well, on that topic of Dak Prescott getting sacked, let's talk about my team, the Cowboys, bro. Why not? First round. Anyway, let's talk about the first round. We picked up Tyler Booker. That's like our 17th O-lineman, whose name is Tyler. But, bro, can you imagine that? The O-line coach just walks in the room. Hey, Tyler. 7-man say, yeah. Like, come on, bro. It must be easy to take attendance with that. But, yeah, picked up Tyler Booker. Now, like we've mentioned, you see a guard or a tackle, and you're like, it's a necessary position. We needed it, especially with Zach Martin retiring, things like that. But, bro, we want to see the flashy move. We want to see the flashy player. I was hoping that Tetero and McMillan would have fell to us. That's my kind of player right there. I'm a fan of the big receivers. Look at my favorite receivers of all time. Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones. These big profile guys who can just go up and get it. That's what Tet McMillan. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I know he's came out and his mum came out and said, don't call him Tet. It's so easy to say though. So it's Tetero and McMillan. We can't say Tet. I apologize. But yeah, that's my type of player, my type of profile of player. He's gone to the Panthers. Like, bum-ass team over there, do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I need to stop saying that this year. We're trying to be professional, but it stole my pick, bro. The 2 players I was hoping for, maybe this is just a pure delusion. I was hoping the Cowboys would either get Ashton Jeanty or Tetero McMillan. Didn't get either. Then we got to our pick. Matthew Golden was still on the board. I'm thinking, okay, one of the fastest receivers in the combine. One of the fastest players you can see. Go and get a fast receiver. CeeDee Lamb needs help. You know what I mean? He's 1 versus the gorilla, bro. He needs that other 99 man to come back him. But no moves there. Jerry Jones has said, though, he's cooking something up. But Jerry, I don't believe you. You know what I mean? Jerry Jones could tell me he's cooking something. That shit's raw, bro. You know what I mean? Let me see this move. There's rumors of Tyreek Hill possibly being traded to the Cowboys. But I don't know how I feel about Tyreek coming to the Cowboys. I can't lie. He's on Antonio Brown watch right now, 10 years deep into the league. That CTE's kicking in, boy, I'm telling you. Like, that guy's... Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, but still, I was hoping for a receiver. We got a guard. Nice, I guess. Who's he blocking for, bro? We don't have a running back. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, didn't we just pick a guy up from the Broncos? I don't know. We'll do more accurate predictions when the trade deadline's over, things like that, and then we can see who has moved around. And this is just me showing lack of ball knowledge right now because I haven't checked anyone's depth chart for a while. But still, that's first round. Let's talk about Matthew Golden to the Packers for the first time since what, 2003 or something? Was it?
For the first time since 2002, the Green Bay Packers pick a wide receiver, Matthew Golden. Oh my God. Mark Murphy getting the crowd pop like that with the whole atmosphere in Green Bay. I must have been on some fucked up Viagra the way my erection lasted more than 4 hours, dude. That was one of the
He was on those Rose Spark pills. He was on those Rose Sparks.
It was, oh my God, dude. The atmosphere in Green Bay through every single round was just purely incredible. I'm so thankful for Mark Murphy for getting this event in Green Bay. And to finally draft a wide receiver in the first round, there's going to be a lot of high expectations for him, but if anybody can live up to it, it's him. You talked about it before, speediest wide receiver in the draft. You look at the tape, he's making all different kinds of contested catches up and down the sideline, and we definitely need some challenges in this wide receiver room. I love all the guys we got, but there was definitely some drop issues, health issues kind of across the board. I can't really blame one specific player individually, but it's just so exciting to get a pick like that and have him come into the building. It's going to be so amazing for this next season. I can't wait.
That was one of those picks where it felt like the stars just aligned, you know? It's in Green Bay. His name's Golden. He has the big G on his chain. Like, the team that wears green and gold. Like, that felt like the stars just aligned, and he was there as well. He was in the room. He got to walk. I can't even imagine the goosebumps he must have felt walking through that tunnel and hearing the "Go Pack Go" from the crowd. Bro, I was getting goosebumps from that. Like I said at the start, shout out to the Green Bay fans because they turned up for real. And that pop, like you said, when they said draft a wide receiver, crowd goes crazy. Then the "Go Pack Go" starts. That was what a moment.
I think, yeah, my completely unbiased opinion, by the way, I think that was the single greatest moment of the draft. And then the close second, I don't want to go too far out of the way, but Baron Sorrell in the 4th round out of Texas stayed in the green room all 3 days. And the Packers didn't even know that he was still there when they drafted him. Roger Goodell comes out and everybody's like, this guy again, for real? And he goes, hey, he's in the building with us, so give him a good round of applause. And you look at the Packers green room and they're like, what? He's still here? What? Like he's over there right now? What? And it was just such an awesome moment to see him finally get drafted, run out to his new home fans, and just so many great moments for Green Bay in this draft.
Yeah, even just before, like at the very start when they opened the show, you know, everyone coming out on the bikes. I know that's a Green Bay tradition with the at the training camp. Well, yeah, exactly. Is that the draft hat?
That's the draft hat, yeah.
Hey, that's fire. Let's go. That's actually fire. The draft hats this year, by the way, can we give a shout out to whoever designed the hats for this year? Like, the hat game was crazy.
Some of the best in a long time.
Did you see the Jags hat? It said Duval on the front. Oh, man. But I was going to say Clay Matthews, obviously a Packers legend, dropping one of the funniest like stand-up routines that I've seen in a while, saying the president texted him, saying the Bears still suck. That was so funny, bro.
I think he was going to do that no matter who won, just to throw that out there real quick. But it was definitely one of the best moments of the draft, too.
Yeah, when he said, I've received a text from the president, Donald Trump, I was thinking, wait, why are we bringing politics into my NFL draft? But I was like, we getting political? But no, it was so funny, bro. Was not expecting that. Just touching on Matthew Golden real quick before we move on. Obviously, you guys had like 5-6 wide receivers last year. Didn't really have a wide receiver one. I can't remember who it was that came out and said like you need like a leader and need like a dog in that wide receiver position.
That was Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs said that. Okay, there we go. You draft Matthew Golden. Do you think he could be the wide receiver one? That's the first question. Second question, your second pick, or well, in your first 3 picks, you picked 2 wide receivers. So that's more competition in that room. Somebody's got to leave, surely. Like that's a pretty crowded wide receiver room, unless you're gonna run like 5 receiver sets and just lob it up and hope one of them comes down with it and doesn't whack the head against the floor and go out injured again. That seemed to be a common problem for you guys last year.
I mean, we might try to sneak some of those guys on the offensive line and have them move out there, but it's going to be a lot of competition in this room. Hopefully, it just makes everybody strive to be that much better. But I think it might be the end of some of the lower guys like Malik Heath and Bo Melton. I love those guys, but I don't know if they're going to be on the same level as the rest of these guys. But it's definitely way too early to tell. We'll see how it goes. For your other question, sorry, I just
No,
got all
it's all
over
good.
the
It's all good.
place. I definitely think Matthew Golden has the ability to prove himself as the number one. But like I said, it's going to drive up that competition. And hell, who knows? We saw Jaden Reed pop off in week 1 versus the Eagles. He might get that same mentality and keep going with that. And then Matthew Golden won't have to take on such a big role. But, wide receiver by committee didn't work out super great, but it was definitely still good that we can have so many guys that are able to step up at any given moment. We just need to see it more consistently.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's better to have like too many options than not enough options. Talking about the Cowboys. And Jerry, I'm talking to you, brother. Go get us a wide receiver, bro. We didn't draft a single wide receiver in this draft. The Cowboys did pick up 2 running backs, though. I said we need help at the running back position, but no wide receiver in the whole draft, bro. Like, come on now. I do want to mention the Cowboys' second pick, Eze Ruraku. There we go. I think I got it. I don't know. Apologies, brother. But people have labeled him the next DeMarcus Lawrence. I like the sound of that. We've got, obviously, Micah on one side, having another threat on the other. A bit like I mentioned with the Browns, having a defensive tackle inside to help Myles Garrett get some pressure off of him, or even free up that pressure. We saw last season with the Broncos, Nick Bonito off the edge was going crazy, pass rushing. And then that boy inside, I can't remember his name. Big white boy, Allen, maybe. Maybe I'm thinking of Josh. Zach Allen, there we go. He was going crazy from the defensive tackle position because you had such pressure on the edge. It sometimes frees up that middle. A lot of people said about the Browns pick, I think he had 3.5 sacks last year. A lot of people saying that's not good enough for a first round pick, a 5th overall pick especially. But still, maybe like I say, that Myles Garrett threat frees up some space for him. But we'll have to wait and see once we get into the season. But before we end off the first round discussion, you mentioned Jordan Reed there. I want to mention now Ed Reed. People compared this guy to Ed Reed. Now, that's a big comparison. The Ravens draft Malaki Starks, safety, in the first round, and I am absolutely in love with that pick. I can't lie. He's wearing the number 24 too, which is one of my favorite numbers. Besides 9, it's 24, bro. Rest in peace to Kobe. Seeing that number 24 with Stark on there, bro, I'm thinking John... I'm not thinking John because that's Jon Snow, but I'm thinking Rob Stark, Ned Stark, King of the North, King of the AFC North. Oh my god, bro. It's, you know what I mean? It's just lined up perfectly. But with that being said, Malaki Starks, a lot of people compared him to Ed Reed. We'll have to wait and see if that comparison lives up to the heights that it should. But big fan of that. If you watch last season's predictions videos, every time we spoke about the Ravens, I was yapping on about Kyle Hamilton. That's one of my favorite players in the league. And I said I like Kyle Hamilton best when we move him closer to the line of scrimmage and he can play a bit closer in. Drafting Malaki Starks, who's more of a deep safety, that allows next season Kyle Hamilton's going to be able to drop closer to the line and we are going to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be Ravens versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl and the Ravens going to win. You know what I mean? In fact, if it's Ravens Cowboys in the Super Bowl, I win. Yeah. Did you see Travis Hunter got asked if Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, went against Travis Hunter, the DB, who comes down with the ball? He said Travis Hunter. That's how I feel right now. If the Ravens play the Cowboys, who wins? Me. I win. But big fan of that pick. Malaki Starks, can't wait to see what he does with the Ravens. And yeah, I think that's all I really want to say about the first round. Anything else to mention for you, Q, before we move on?
There was one pick that kind of surprised me a little bit. It was from Buffalo. They got rid of Kyer Elam, and they needed some corner help. They drafted Maxwell Hairston. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's one of the other guys that ran a 4.2 at the combine. But I don't know how McDermott passed on Jihad Campbell. I mean, with a name like that, I think he fits right into the culture that Sean McDermott wants there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I see that. That was an interesting trade too. You just mentioned Jihad Campbell. He went to the Eagles. The Eagles traded with the Chiefs to move up one place. I guess they thought the Chiefs might have took Jihad Campbell, but nobody really thought that the Chiefs would go for a linebacker. Everyone knew the Chiefs were going to go for O-line help because Patty Mahomes was out there running away like he was getting chased by the one gorilla versus 99 men. I say 99 because the first guy's already died. He's gone. But yeah, another pick. You just said you were surprised that somebody passed up on a certain player. The Chargers, their first pick, I was expecting wide receiver. You saw them last season, got beat in the playoffs, wildcard round against the Texans. And that's because Ladidi McConkey went crazy. But who else did they have out there to catch passes? Nobody. In fact, they had the Texans DBs out there to catch passes. Justin Herbert throwing 4 interceptions on the day. Bum ass motherfucker. Cost me a lot of money that day, but redemption season, Justin Herbert, yeah. Did I just call him Justin Tucker a minute ago? I don't know why that name's on my mind. Get it out of here. Get it in jail. Yeah, no. But yeah, the Chargers picked Omarion Hampton, who is a running back, which I guess maybe obviously still you can have options in the pass game out the backfield, a bit like what the Bengals have with that boy Chase Brown, a very good like dual threat running back over there in Cincinnati. But Omarion Hampton from the tape looks like a good runner of the ball. John Harbaugh, obviously the coach of the Chargers, loves to pound the rock, and I think that'll be a nice little pick for them. They did end up picking a wide receiver in this with their second pick, a guy by the name of Harris. So in fact, the Chargers had a good draft class. They picked 2 D linemen too. Obviously, Bosa has left, went to the Bills, and Khalil Mack is getting older now, so picking up 2 D linemen as well to help out there. That's a nice little draft for the Chargers, but I was surprised to see them pass up on a first round wide receiver. That was a lot of R's and W's. Let's get away from the R's and W's and go to the quarterback position. Before we move on from the first round, how could we forget the New York Giants trading back in to the first round to pick Shedeur Sanders? Oh, wait. It wasn't Shedeur Sanders, it was Jaxson Dart. Anything to say about him, Q?
I mean, a lot of people have already mentioned it already, but the Ole Miss system is definitely not the pro style offensive way to go. And we saw him on the Gruden show. It was a very interesting discussion between those two guys. John Gruden was left pretty speechless, and I was left pretty speechless too with this pick. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I didn't exactly think Shedeur was a first round talent, but I wasn't expecting him to go all the way in the 5th. But I didn't think Jaxson Dart was a first rounder either. The only guy I thought was first round caliber was Cam Ward, and that was kind of I don't want to say a reach pick, but you're the best quarterback in the class at the most important position. The team at number 1, that's pretty much all that they can hope for. So I understand Cam Ward going first, but to get any other quarterbacks in the first was kind of baffling to me.
Yeah, I watched the Gruden show as well. I love Coach Gruden. He's one of my favorite people to listen talk about football. You just can tell he loves the game. He gets so passionate about it. And that video with Jaxson Dart, the QB class, was, it was a good insight into learning more about Jaxson Dart. Any Giants fans watching right now, Tom, my boy, if you're watching this, definitely check that video out. I know I've sent you it already. We might try and get Tom on this year. Me and our other co-host, Crab, who isn't here today, we have a friend who is a Giants fan. Last year, didn't get him on the show because, they were struggling. But this year, might get him on the show, bro. If the Giants are doing well, he might try and come on and talk some ish. With that Abdul Carter pick, they've got Jameis Winston, they've got Russell Wilson, Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart has been told he's sitting the whole year, by the way. Just to get that out there already. They've said that, it's going to be best for him to sit behind the 2 veterans in Jameis and Russ and learn the game from them and out of the spotlight. But still, exciting year for Giants fans. You've got an absolutely stacked D-line there. D-line all across is stacked. Malik Neighbors out there is probably a top 10 wide receiver in the league, possibly. And that's not even a stretch to say. I think he's probably a top 10 wide receiver, especially last season. Probably had a top 10 season. And yeah, maybe Giants fans, this is your time to shine. But Jaxson Dart, from watching that John Gruden video, this guy plays like Hawk Tua, bro, over in Miami. This guy tries to tackle linebackers. He's a QB. You know what I mean? You can't take hits like that, especially on the NFL level, bro, because he's going to get injured. He's going to get injured, and he's going to get killed. So maybe we send Jaxson Dart first against the Gorilla. He can try and give a concussion, leads with his helmet. But we need to leave this Gorilla thing alone. Oh, man. can you imagine watching this video and you don't know about the 100 men versus 1 gorilla debate? And they're like, why are these guys talking about NFL players fighting gorillas? But we'll get to that at the end of the video. Our top 10 NFL players who could single-handedly take the gorilla. Number 1, Aaron Donald. Anyway, back to the draft. Yeah, what were you saying? Oh yeah, bro, did you see that? Let me hear your snap count. You've been clapping for 3 years. Oh, bro, that was unbelievable. You know, that was unbelievable. I have a problem with snap counts. Anytime I see anything that resembles a ball or just anything horizontal, as if I can pretend I'm under center. Like, you can ask Key when we're in work and I see anything horizontal. I'm like, why did he white set? I don't know why I have this like urge to give a snap count. And Jaxson Dart, he's a pro. He's in the NFL now. He doesn't even have a snap count. He had to learn. Oh, color number. I think he picked white 18 maybe. White 18, or I don't know, but still, let's see what the Giants have him implemented. I like white 80. I don't know where I got that one from, but obviously you have A-Rod's classic green 19 to fucking D-Bar's gritty voice, bro. He beating gravel over there. Maybe that's just the Green Bay way. We'll have to see how Jordan Love sounds when I can hear him mic'd up, but what am I even talking about? Let's move on in the draft. You mentioned there Shedeur Sanders. Maybe it's time. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. So, a lot of people thought he might have gone to the Browns. Browns passed up on him. Next team who could have possibly picked him was the Saints at number 9. They picked a tackle, passed up on him in the first round. Ended up later on at pick 40 picking Tyler Shuff, who's a QB I didn't hear no single person on the planet talk about before the draft. Back to the first round though, another team that could have possibly picked Shedeur and was hinted to very heavily by Shedeur himself that maybe he was getting picked by them was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They didn't pick him either. They picked a defensive tackle, which I did like the pick from the Steelers. Cam Hayward obviously plays that more inside D lineman position now. He's getting older. They do need a replacement there. And from what I've heard about that guy Harmon, he seems like a good fit for the Steelers. Also, they picked up a bit later on Jack Sawyer from the Ohio State University. I just want to shout at him. Anytime I see a pick from OSU, I've got to shout it out because, you know, I watched a few of their games last year, like I say. Wait, they picked up Will Howard too? From the Ohio State University. He made me a bit of money last year, so shout out to that boy Will Howard. I'm not shouting at the Steelers though, as a Ravens fan. But yeah, so what was I saying? Did you hear the sad story about Harmon, the defensive tackle that the Steelers picked? Very sad story there. We won't dwell on that too much, but shout out to him and his family, man. You know, it's a very sad story, but hopefully he does go on to have a good career in the NFL, except when he's playing against the Ravens. So, Steelers passed up on Shedeur. Then it was like, okay, so maybe he goes in the second round then. Doesn't go in the second round. Then it's like, where's this guy going to land? And the more the picks went through, because people were saying, obviously, he was pick 144. A lot of people were saying 143 picks passed up on him. Doesn't really work like that because not 144 picks were like potential quarterback picks. You know, you're not going to see the Ravens picking a quarterback. You're not going to see the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs picking a quarterback right now. There was actually rumors that the Eagles were going to take him. I heard a lot of rumors that the Eagles were going to pick Shedeur, get him in that quarterback room. And then obviously the Browns ended up picking him in the 5th round, 144th pick. They traded up above Philadelphia to make that pick. So maybe there was some truth to those rumors. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that pick. I can't lie. Why make him wait so long? They picked Dylan Gabriel before him as well. Like, if you're going to take a quarterback, why not take Shedeur there? I mean, we don't know where these teams had Shedeur like graded. Obviously, for a lot of people, he was the second best quarterback talent in the draft behind my man Cam Ward. But look at the QBs that went before him. Tyler Shuff to the Saints, Jaxson Dart to the Giants, Dylan Gabriel to the bum-ass Browns. And then obviously Shedeur ends up there too. But it was such a crazy situation, I thought.
Yeah, I think I've heard a couple people talking about it like this. There's never been a situation with a player like Shedeur being followed by such another high-profile guy like a coach, Coach Prime. And I heard a couple people talking about there are teams that are worried about drafting Shedeur, and then if the team doesn't do well, then that would lead to pressure on their head coach. And then, oh, look here, suddenly Prime is available to coach at the NFL level with his son. And I mean, Kevin Stefanski's two-time Coach of the Year winner, but is he really that far from the hot seat? I mean, and it's not even really his fault. It's just this whole organization with the single worst trade in NFL history, the single worst contract, and it set him back. Honestly, you could look at it. They probably set themselves back with a decade with that horrible ass contract. And there's just so much
What's
pressure on
the context? Give us some context with that. This trade.
Diddy Watson.
Yeah, I was waiting to hear you say it.
Yeah. I try not to speak that guy's name too much. Doesn't deserve it. But oh my god, dude, they set themselves back so terribly. And like I said, any other team that drafted Shedeur, as soon as their quarterback doesn't do well, there's so much pressure to put this kid in. And then there's pressure from Coach Prime himself if he might be taking over the whole team. And that's just stuff I've heard. I don't know if I particularly believe that Coach Prime would jump to the NFL and coach his son like that, because he talked about how he's such a good leader of men at the college level. But I don't know. That's kind of the only thing I can think of as to why he slid so far. Like, I didn't think he was a first round, but I didn't think he was a day 3 pick either.
Yeah, it was really unprecedented, I think, to see a player of his talent slide so much and see so many quarterbacks picked before him. Jalen Milroe also picked before him. He went to the Seahawks. I do want to talk about the Seahawks a little bit later on too, so we're going to discuss a bit more of the teams later once we get off the Shedeur topic, but we have to talk about this, bro, because like I say, it's unprecedented, you know, to see a guy of his talents, of his profile, really. And maybe that was, you know, the reason why he slid so much was the profile, but I think it's politics that doesn't need to exist. Turn on the tape. Is he a good player? Yes. Are there some attitude issues or something that comes with it? Not even attitude, just confidence. What I see in him is confidence, you know, and that's what you want from a quarterback, is confidence. You don't want your quarterback to come in and be like, I'm just going to try my best, and if I'm not good enough, then that's okay. At least I'm trying hard. Fuck that, bro. You want your quarterback to come in and say, I'm going to lead these people to a championship. I'm going to change the culture. That's what he said. He said, pick me if you want to change your culture. The Browns, what is your culture? Losing is your culture, Cleveland. Yeah? Losing. You've just lost game 1 against the Pacers in the basketball. It's a whole different sport, and you're still losing. Cleveland. Yeah? I know I'm saying this as I'm saying, oh, I love Ohio State University, but still. Cleveland, bro. It's a good fucking job I have notifications on, because I've got 3% charge on my laptop that just popped up there. That was lucky I caught that. We would have lost the whole entire recording. Back in character. Cleveland, I'm talking to you, brother. What do you think you're going to do? Change your culture? No, we don't want our culture changed. Oh, you want to go 3-15 again this season? Do you know what I mean? Like, that QB room over there, by the way, like, what the hell? What the helly? Like, Joe Flacco, I'm guessing, is going to be the starter for the season. They picked up Kenny Pickett, who, I mean, what can you say about him? Yeah, right. Kenny Pickett is there, probably the backup. Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and then Deshaun Watson, who's obviously out for the entire season because he was doing TikToks instead of rehab. So it's going to be interesting to see who starts there. I do think Shedeur might get his chance. I mean, I'm mad at Joe Flacco. I'm a Ravens fan. He won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. I don't care. His bum ass let me down last year for the Colts against the Giants for a lot of money. So he's a bum to me. He's dead to me now. I want to see him dropped. Kenny Pickett, fuck out of here, bro. What is he even, you know what I mean? Get Shedeur in there. I'm kind of mad though still, because obviously the son of Coach Prime, being a Cowboys fan, that name Sanders means a lot to me. I really wanted to get Shedeur's jersey wherever he landed. And then I'm seeing the top 2 teams he might go to is Pittsburgh, rivals of the Ravens, or Cleveland, rivals of the Ravens. So I'm like, I can't get a fucking AFC North rival jersey, can I? So yeah, he's ended at the Browns. Probably one of the worst jerseys in the league anyway. The Browns jersey, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm not getting a Shedeur jersey until he moves somewhere else. At least I hope he can get a chance to play and move somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I just hope he gets a chance to play and prove to everyone who's doubted him that he's him. You know, That's what I want to see. But again, he's in. I mean, Coach Prime said he didn't want him to go to Cleveland. You know, there was that whole thing as well of like where he wants his sons to play. But let's be for real. Who wants their son to go to the Cleveland Browns? They haven't had a winning season for what, like 10 years? That might be an exaggeration, but still.
I mean, last time they were good was when they still had Baker Mayfield.
Exactly, and that's a man who went first overall in the draft, wasn't he? And that was a man who was full of confidence and attitude and swag and had this persona of like, I'm gonna fucking win type shit, you know what I mean?
Dude, if you want to talk about character concerns, there was a video of drunk-ass Baker Mayfield being tackled by the cops, and he still went number 1 overall. I don't really want to hear the character concerns with Shedeur Sanders when we still got shit like that going on.
Exactly. And then, you know, let's not even go where I was about to go. But, you know, no scandals on the man's name, no criminal record like some other people. So what is the problem? I don't get it. We've got to talk about the elephant in the room too. Sorry, the gorilla in the room. What the fuck's he doing here? What happened to the other 99 men? Why is he looking at me? Yeah, the elephant in the room though. Unfortunate news to come out of this whole Shedeur situation as well. He got a phone call, thought it was his time, and it was a prank call. You know, and it apparently wasn't the only player who got prank called during this draft weekend. The Atlanta Falcons have been fined $250,000, and the defensive coordinator for the Falcons has been fined $100,000. Bro, if I was the father of that kid who did the prank call, I'm taking my son to the zoo. He can be the first man against the gorilla, bro. Like, are you kidding me? $100,000 out of my pocket, and you're prank calling and ruining people's dreams like this? What the fuck type kid did I raise? You know what I mean? I'm sure the DC is a nice guy and he didn't raise his son to be that kind of person, but still. Did you see the son put out an apology as well, and it was written on ChatGPT? People did a reverse search on like the fucking like text AI search, and it was on chat. Like, come on, bro. You can't tell me that kid was sorry. If he never got caught, he probably would have never apologized. Send his ass to the gorilla, bro. You know what I mean? Oh, man. So, we've got Joe Flacco going up against the gorilla. We've got the Falcons DC's kid. Everyone that's ever cost me money, or everyone I just don't like, against the gorilla. But, yeah. Very disappointing story to hear, you know, and I mean, it's a phone number as well that he only gave to NFL teams. You know, it's not like somebody from his college had leaked it. We saw what happened with Caleb Williams. It literally happened to him last year. Remember, he got FaceTime thinking it was Ben Johnson, and it wasn't. Oh, not Ben Johnson, sorry. Dan Campbell, I think they pretended to be, and then it wasn't him. And yeah, so just an unfortunate situation there, but Shedeur, like I say, hopefully he can prove everyone wrong. He gets his chance, we hope, this year to play. And he can be a dog, bro, because I want to see what he can do, you know? I want to see what that name can live up to from the quarterback position, because we know what he can do at the corner / wide receiver position. Prime time, you know? Shedeur, go be great, bro. Go be legendary. See what I did there? That's his brand, too legendary. But, yeah, earlier on, I mentioned Jalen Milroe going at pick 92 to the Seattle Seahawks. Big fan of him. I watched him the other day. He had an interview with the NFL Insiders. Shout out to the NFL Insiders, by the way. Very big fan of that show. And they were speaking to Jalen Milroe. He's picked up the number 6. I think he wears number 4, and he wanted number 4, but the Seahawks punter wears number 4. And the way he said it was a bit like, come on, bro, you're only a punter, give me the number kind of thing, you know, the way it sounded. But seems like a great guy, Jalen Milroe. He's going to be the backup, of course, to Sam Darnold. Very interested to see this year what Sam Darnold can do. Last year, he had a great season with the Vikings until the playoffs. But, we'll let them off. But, bro, I said every week in our NFL picks, Sam Darnold was great last year because he had great options either side of him, making him great. Let's see what he can do in Seattle where those options aren't as great. They have JSN. They've traded DK Metcalf. Picked up Cooper Kupp, right? Yep. Who else do they really have over there in Seattle?
Jake Bobo.
Oh, come on, bro. Be for real. Be for real. Yeah, so, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see that situation. If Sam Darnold stinks it up over there, like he has done before in the NFL, maybe Jalen Milroe gets a chance to step in first year and see what he can do. But I mean, I don't think he will. I think he'll have an okay season. JSN and Cooper Kupp are solid targets to try and hit. They'll make him look good. Get the ball in the catch radius, and I'm sure he'll come down with it. But that's a little mention of the Seattle Seahawks. I do want to try and mention a few other teams in case there's fans watching of other teams and they think, why the fuck didn't these two stupid white idiots talk about my team? Don't know why what do you say fuck me for kind of thing, But yeah, to be fair, I'm looking at my notes. I don't really have anything to talk about with the other teams. So if you are watching and you're about to type your comment, fuck your team, bum ass team anyway. You know what I mean? Who are you, bro? Like, who's gonna comment? I can't even think of no bum ass team right now at the top of my head. What team haven't we spoke about, Q? Tell me, give me a team, random.
We're gonna see Crab in the comments crying about the Niners.
No, we're gonna talk about the Niners. To be fair, we're gonna talk about the Niners. But any other team that's not the Niners right now, say something, bro.
I mean, one of the other bigger guys in the first round, if you want to do it, is Shamar Stewart for the Bengals. I'm excited to see what he can do. It's a very controversial pick because he had almost no production in college, and it's just all potential. So we'll definitely see how that goes. But they they need somebody on defense, and they still haven't figured out Trey Hendrickson from what I've seen. So we'll see how their season goes again. We saw what happens when you don't have a defense last year, and who knows what's going to happen with what they got this year.
Yeah, very similar to the story of the Falcons. Like I mentioned before, you can score all you want, but if you leave the back door open, people are going to run in the house. People are going to run amok. People are going to take what they want and take advantage of that. Big pick, like you say, Trey Hendrickson, still unclear of his future, but we know who's winning the AFC North next year. We don't even need to talk about the Bengals for too long. Come on now. Stay with me now. On that topic, let me talk about the Ravens some more, because we mentioned Malaki Starks. Second pick, drafted Mike Green. I don't know if you've kept up with his story too much. But yeah, apparent first round talent. A few off the field incidents have led him to drop down. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know too much about that, but hopefully it's just rumors and he's innocent. And if he's not, lock his ass up. But if he is innocent, then cool. We've got a nice little guy off the edge to replace Kyle Van Noy probably in a few years, who's getting a bit older now. But Kyle Van Noy's my guy, bro. Like, I want Kyle Van Noy to play to 40, like he's LeBron. Like, you know what I mean? That's my guy, but another big pick for the Ravens. In fact, do you have anything to say on Mike Green there?
No. I mean, I could wrap it with the Shedeur thing and talk about character concerns mean nothing, but, I'm not going to really keep going with that anymore.
Yeah, no worries. Well, speaking of shenanigans off the field, the Ravens picked a new kicker, Tyler Loop, and a video just went viral of him. He hit a 75-yard field goal. 75 yards, bro. You kidding me? Yeah. Like, the punter just doesn't exist anymore in this game. I give it like 5 to 10 years. Punts aren't going to exist. We're going to be taking field goals from our own 1 yard line. Like, that's the evolution of the game. I don't know what these guys be eating. I don't know how they be getting their legs so strong, but the evolution of the game is say goodbye to the punter position. I'm sorry, Pat McAfee, I love you. You know what I mean? But the punter position might not exist in a few years' time, the way these kickers are moving. But yeah, that is probably a sign from the Ravens to be like, yo, Justin Tucker, you're done. There's no getting out of this one. You're done. He was inconsistent last season. Then all the off-field shenanigans came out. I think he's getting replaced now.
Yeah, I think he was so bad last year that he kicked himself out of being the most accurate kicker of all time. Like I want to say, I heard reports it's Eddie Pinheiro now, like based on a certain amount of attempts or whatever. But he was like terrible to start the first half of the year, and then slowly picked it back up. But even before this off season, I was like, you got to put the dog down. Like it was terrible. And then to hear all these reports about him, I think it's time to ship his ass out of there.
I agree, and it pains me to say because I've always been a fan of his. Always picked him at kicker in fantasy football. Speaking of, we might run a fantasy football league this year, so look out for that. That might be something we can get involved with because we didn't last year, and I was thinking maybe this year we do fantasy. But yeah, something to note about Tyler Loop. I looked up his draft report. The only thing that it said was he's a strong Christian. So maybe that means he won't commit any crimes like certain other kickers. But talking about the 9 on my neck, if you don't know what this represents, it represents the whole 9. It represents how everyone's journey is laid out for them and how everything is connected. And, you know, I've spoke a lot about Shedeur Sanders, Dion Primetime Sanders, being a Cowboys fan, and also being a Ravens fan. Late in round 6, the Ravens pick up Jaxson Dart. Do you know the connection I'm about to make here, Q?
No. I don't know if I've heard of this Wester.
Well,
Wester, I hardly know him.
Jaxson Dart against Baylor last season in college football caught a Hail Mary pass from a one Shedeur Sanders. It all comes full circle. What can I say? I mean, that's basically like no connection at all, but still, you know, it's a nice little thing to point out there. A former teammate of Shedeur's coming to the Ravens. Love to see it. But Ravens, overall, quite a solid draft class. We had like the most picks ever, I think. I think on day 2, the Ravens had 8 picks. I'm like, Jesus Christ, give some to other teams, you know? Just touching on the Cowboys again real quick. Obviously picked up Booker in the first round. Already mentioned Eze Ruraku. I think I said it better that time. Picked up 2 running backs. No wide receiver. What the helly? You know, Jerry. What the Jerry? What are you going to do this season, Jerry? What the Jerry? What the Joe? Oh, man. Anyway, yeah. Anything to mention on your entire draft class? We spoke about Matthew Golden a little bit. Anybody else in the Packers draft class that you want to talk about, Q?
I mean, we talked about Matthew Golden. We talked about Savion Williams, the other receiver, and Baron Sorrell. I would like to give out a shout out real quick to Colin Oliver and Micah Robinson. Colin Oliver, lineman from Oklahoma State University. Like I said, my trenches knowledge isn't super deep, but what I did see is a Packers fan by the name of Heroin, or not like the drug, but like the
I was about to say that again.
I cannot pronounce it for shit, but she drew a nice drawing of jersey swap for Colin Oliver that was basically turning the uniform green and put olives where the jersey numbers would be. And then he took that picture, and it's officially his profile picture on Twitter right now, repping the green and gold. So that's awesome to see. And then, of course, Micah Robinson, Tom Grossi's pick. The Grossi posse was shouting his name out. I don't know if they could hear it on the actual broadcast, but you see the fan footage and they're screaming his name, and it's so awesome to see. I was so happy for him.
Yeah, shout out to Tom Grossi, man. I watched a lot of his videos last season when I was getting back into the NFL and stuff. So to see him, I was watching the draft live and saw him come out on stage, and I was like, wait, I had to do a double take. I was like, is that my man? You know what I mean? But yeah, now that was a dope moment for him. Yep. And you know what, Q? Maybe after this season, once the Nameless NFL show pops off, bro, that'll be you next year making that pick in Pittsburgh. That is where the draft is being held next year. I was going to say maybe I get to do Ravens pick in Pittsburgh next year, but bro, I'd get booed off stage. You know what I mean? They would be throwing shit at me. The gorilla would be in the back throwing actual shit at me because he's still alive. Oh, man. Speaking of other people making draft picks too, I know you hate them, and the Packers fans definitely gave this guy hell, but for the Bears, a special guest pick for them, making their draft pick with a dope piece of jewelry over his shoulder. He's a visionary. He's a revolutionary. He's Seth freaking Rollins. He came out to make a pick, which was dope to see. Obviously just won his match in WrestleMania the past weekend before the draft too, which was, you know, really nice to see that, and to see him. He is such a big Bears fan as well. Such a big fan of them. So to get to make the pick, and also to make it in Green Bay and get booed, and you know, the whole wrestling. I feel like wrestling and American football have such like a good connection, you know. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of Pat McAfee or anything like that, but you know, it's such like a fun like team environment, and like the whole rivalry stuff. It's great to see. You know, there was so many fans there from different teams. I think the top 3 was like obviously Packers fans were number 1, Vikings, Lions, and Bears fans, and then the next top was Cowboys fans. Was like in terms of like the amount of fans in attendance. Every time the Cowboys were making a pick, getting booed. You know, it was so funny to see. Let's briefly mention the 49ers. We've got to do Key's job for him since he couldn't make it today. Do want to show a bit of love to his team, even though it's fuck the 49ers. Sorry ass team. But they went defense heavy which I was not expecting, really. They just traded Deebo Samuel. I thought they might have tried to look for a weapon to replace him. George Kittle has just signed a 4-year extension, by the way, $76.4 million, which makes him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. So they've locked down their QB position. They've obviously got the quarterback position locked in. 50 million man, Mr. Irrelevant. How irrelevant is he getting paid 50 million pounds? But yeah, man, first 3 picks, they went defense. So trying to shore up that defense. And a lot of teams this year made a lot of defensive picks, I thought. Obviously, the NFL is a copycat league. We saw the Eagles win the Super Bowl last year, obviously with the running back being a main part of that. A lot of teams picking O-linemen, maybe trying to get a run game going themselves. But, I mean, that Eagles team was just solid all around, bro, do you know what I mean? But their defense especially was insane. You know, I mentioned this a lot when we saw the Eagles play. It felt like teams were having to fight for every single yard against them. So maybe teams have saw that and thought, if we can like shore up our defense, anything's possible. You know, people have said it for years in sports. It's not just because the Eagles, you know, offense wins games, defense wins championships. Look at the Bengals last year. No defense. Like, you know what I mean? No bueno. Falcons, no defense, no bueno. So maybe that's what the 49ers are going for. Shoring up that D-line and just the defense in total with their picks. Anything that you wanted to say about our boys' team?
Man, not really, man. I'm just not looking forward to them revamping the defense because that's been their strong point for my whole life, pretty much. Just defense, defense, defense for the Niners. And their defense was definitely hurt last year. Their whole team was getting hurt, but still weren't able to make the plays. Definitely got a good pick towards the top, and I am not looking forward to facing him again. All I can say. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and they've also, of course, just hired again Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator. So maybe that is the reason they were looking for more defensive players, get that whole new system going. They're going to be a tough team to play against next year, man. But yeah,
Dude, I do not like Saleh. It has nothing to do with anything except for the fact that he was chilling with the Packers for half the season, and then as soon as the season's over, he's like, all right, time to go to the 49ers and give them all Green Bay's plans and completely fuck them over in the playoffs.
Oh man, so yeah, shout out to our boy Key. Like we say, he should be back for the next episode of the Nameless NFL show, which is the name we're running with for now. I can't wait till you can see the music and the graphics that we use to introduce the show. It's going to be a proper graphic design is my passion job. Wait till you see the logo for the show. One player I do want to shout out real quick. We haven't mentioned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So any Bucs fans that have said, fuck you for not talking about the Bucs, delete your comments because we're talking about the Bucs. At least one player, Emeka Egbuka, a guy I watched quite a lot of last season, obviously being from the Ohio State University. Big fan of him, man. And he's definitely, I think, fits that Bucs system, what they do with their wide receivers out there. Get them to move around the line of scrimmage, can line them up, you know, in stack formations, get them to motion, things like that. I think that's a really good fit for Egbuka to land there. Obviously, with Mike Evans too, getting a bit older, they do need to try and look for that next guy to come through and be that automatic 1,000-yard guy like Mike Evans was for so many years. So, looking forward to seeing him. Q, before we sign off, last question I do have for you is, which team, and you can't say your own, which team do you think had the best draft class to make the most improvements on themselves?
If you're gonna knock off my number one, I guess I'd have to go with number two. I've heard mixed reviews, but mostly positive. I think I'd have to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they finally addressed the line in the first round. That was almost as bad as the Packers drought with not taking a receiver in the first round.
Can I just jump in there?
That was like the next big deal. Yeah.
The Seahawks picked Grey Zabel in the 18th pick, I want to say, of the first round. It was top 20 anyway, because I had money on him to go top 20. Because in every mock draft I saw, the 49ers picked Grey Zabel. So when it got to the 49ers and they picked, was it Mikael Williams, his name? Great player, by the way. He's a scary player to end up over there. But they didn't pick Grey Zabel. I was like, damn, there goes my bet. Seahawks step in, Grey Zabel. I'm like, show me the money. Sorry to cut you off there. You can jump back in.
No, I mean, Gray's Able was great, and then their next pick, Nick Ebenwari, he is a freak athlete. I don't know how familiar you are with the RAS testing. It's basically a way to grade people's combines throughout like all of combine history,
Hmm.
and he got the highest score that you can possibly get with like a 10 out of 10 performance. He was like 99th percentile for everything, and that was at I want to say his position of safety. But then there's also a tool where you can move him around and see how his grades stack up against other positions. And he would have been the number one corner and the number one like linebacker of all draft history with his performance. So he had one of the most dominating draft performances. It's great to see him make his way stealing Russell Wilson's number. And then the next pick was one of Cam Ward's best weapons, Elijah Arroyo. And I don't think Noah Fant usually worked out for them in Seattle after the whole Russell Wilson trade. Every single piece of that draft or of that trade didn't really work out. So getting a new tight end is going to do wonders for their offense, especially with their limited weapons already. But yeah, just a pretty good top-down draft from the Seahawks, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course, picking up Jalen Milroe too, which we spoke about earlier, to be a nice little backup for them. Yeah, solid answer there. I was not expecting you to say Seahawks, I can't lie. For my pick for best draft class, if I can't pick the Ravens and I can't pick, obviously, the Cowboys, even though I wouldn't because we didn't pick a wide receiver.
Do you want to pick the Packers?
I'm not going to pick the Packers because, to be fair, I made 0 notes on the Packers draft because I knew that Q would be able to provide all the information on the Packers draft. So apart from the 2 wide receivers in the first 3 picks, that's literally the only note I made was, where is it? 2 wide receivers in the first 3 picks. It's the only notes that I made there. So, yeah. Let me see, bro. I'll run through a few options since this is going to be the end of the video anyway. Patriots, really like their draft class. Big Will Campbell. They picked up Henderson at running back, got a new center too, and also picked themselves up a kicker. So just a very consistent, addressed areas that they needed to. O-line, got another running back in there with Ramondre Stevenson, his name is right. W name, I like that name. And they've just picked up, of course, I've just said his name, Henderson. Now, they are going to run out of characters. If both of those running backs score, I don't think they can tweet it. Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. That's a lot of letters, bro. I think they run out of characters in a tweet if they try and put out touchdowns today from Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. They're long-ass names.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you want to talk about character concerns. I don't know if they can tweet that out.
Character concern. That's amazing, bro. Yeah, and the Patriots, of course, already got Hunter Henry at tight end, who's a solid player. Stephon Diggs coming in at wide receiver 2. That is a nice little setup there for the Patriots. I think they might have a good season this year. I did like the Giants picking up Abdul Carter. Like I say, their defensive line's so solid already, with the guy whose name I can't pronounce on the other side, Sexy Dexy in the middle. That's a solid line right there. You got Jaxson Dart, who's, they've said that he's not going to play this year, but still, I did like the pickup. I do like the kid from watching the video with John Gruden, with Coach Gruden. I did really like the sound of Jaxson Dart going there, getting to learn from Russell Wilson and Jameis. Eat these W's, Jameis. Another player, which you actually put me on, Q, because you mentioned his name, Cameron Scatabo. He got picked by the Giants. Yeah. Bro, that guy was like a human pinball. I was watching his highlight tape. He was getting contact, a bit like Jaxson Dart. He was getting contact every single angle, but he was staying on his feet, bro. I think he was 5'8", maybe, a small guy, low center of gravity, able to stay up even through contact. So he looks like a solid running back for the Giants. And I was saying to my mates who I mentioned before, Tom, who is a Giants fan, I said, who the fuck did they even have? Sorry, pardon my language. Who the hell did they even have? Who the hell did they even have at running back last year? I can't even remember, bro. Do you know what I mean? So a nice little pickup for them. Another option there. Shout out to the Giants. Fuck the Giants. Cowboys fan. Falcons, I did like them getting 2 edge rushes, but they also picked up 2 safeties. So going all out defense there. Chargers, I thought they had a great draft class. I mentioned Omari and Hampton picked the wide receiver with their second pick too. and the 2 D linemen. That was a solid little class of everything that they needed. They really addressed. The Browns, bro. They got, obviously, Graham, the DT, to help Myles Garrett. Schlesinger was their second pick, which I thought was a mad one. I hadn't heard anybody talk about him. Linebacker. They picked with the first pick of the second round. Also picked up another tight end. They obviously have my guy, what's his name? Q, help me out. Njoku at tight end. He's a threat, but they picked up another tight end. Picked up Dylan Gabriel. Got Sampson at running back and Shedeur. That's so many picks before they took Shedeur. That's crazy. But still, Browns trying to address some areas. Still going to be bottom of the AFC North next season. I'm sorry to say. So I guess my biggest shout outs for this draft go to the Chargers and the Patriots. Shout out to the Patriots, man. Yeah, in fact, I'm going Patriots. I can only pick one. I'll let you pick one. So I'm going Patriots. I like their draft class. So yeah, that was our roundup of the 2025 NFL draft. I don't even know how long this video is going to be. I feel like we've spoke for quite some time now and addressed everything we needed to address. Last thing we need to address, though, are top 10 NFL players who could beat the Gorilla single-handedly. Anyone you want to throw out there, Q? I'm going Aaron Donald. I'm going George Pickens.
I'm going coked up LT.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one. Can I think of any players at the top of my head? This is an unscripted part of the video, by the way. So I don't have any other players I think in mind. And Ndamukong Suh. Lions and Ndamukong Suh, though, back in those days. That's a flag on the play already. The Gorillas looking to the ref like, ref, flag.
Do something.
I'm getting beat out of here. Oh, man.
Who we got? We got Donald.
Aaron Donald.
LT,
yeah.
Suh.
And Ndamukong Suh. George Pickens, because he's just going to crash out.
Pickens.
He might get swatted, but he's still going to crash out. He'll get that first punch in. Believe that. George Pickens can go first.
I mean, talking about the Steelers' offense, I think a good 1-2 punch is Pickens and DK. DK's rich as hell, too.
DK's jacked. Are you kidding me? Ooh. Aqib Talib. Aqib Talib. Take the Gorilla's chain.
He's gonna snatch the
You're gonna take the Gorilla's chain? Oh, man.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I think that's just gonna make him more pissed.
That's the good thing, though. And then we can like get him to chase Aqib Talib. We can just backpedal the whole way. And then remember I said I'm picking the Gorilla with the dodgy ACL. He's trying to chase down Aqib Talib. The ACL pops again. It's game, you know?
Do we need 10 or are we good with the 5 we got?
I think we're winning with the 5 we got, but we still need a bench just in case to cheer them on. Ray Lewis. Give me Ray Lewis. Are you kidding me? I've got to pick my boy Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis. Let's do Patrick Willis.
It's getting tough now.
Think of somebody to throw out there to sacrifice.
Well, that was the George Pickens pick. He's going to get the first punch and then get swatted back to Pittsburgh. I don't even know where this fight's taking place, but still, I'm going to go Cam Chancellor. He's going to lay a hit stick, even if it's the one hit he gets in. Give me a hit stick tackle, lay the Gorilla out. Gorilla's going to be like, what the fuck? Where am I? Am I in Pittsburgh? Like, what the fuck?
I think I'm going to go with the guy they call Silverback himself, Trent Williams. I mean, he's going to be a dog.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Yeah, because he can then block for the guys who's just getting the licks in. You know what I mean? Hide behind him. Little, you know what I mean? Who else? How many have we got now? 7? We need 3 more?
I think we're at like 8 or something.
Possibly.
Like
Let's go one more each because I'm running out of players that I can think of now.
All right. Trying to think of just some absolute.
I'm going to pick the guy that the Bucks have just drafted. He weighed in at 464 pounds at 6'7". I'm picking him, bro. So when the Gorilla's ACL blows, we're going to get this guy who's 464 pounds to just sit on him. Hold him down. Pin him down. The ref's going to come out like 1, 2, 3. But there's not going to be a pinfall in this fight. This is no hold barred. Yeah, give me that guy. I don't even know his name. But I'm sure it was the Bucks that picked him up. One more thing. The Bucks picked up Shiloh Sanders. Love to see it. Coach Prime has 2 sons in the NFL. Just while we're on the topic of the Bucks. But yeah, I'm going to him for my final pick in the Gorilla draft.
You're thinking about Desmond Watson.
Desmond Watson. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of more historic guys. And the guy that was coming to my head was Jack Ham from the Steelers Steel Curtain defense. He's just an absolute meathead,
Mm,
absolutely trying to take off anybody's separate their head from their shoulders. I think we could use that. So I think that's probably the last guy I could add.
I like it. Speaking of Steelers defense, I've got one more pick. With the final pick in the 2025 Gorilla Draft, I select James Harrison. Give me James Harrison in there too. I think that's a solid lineup. I think we went like mostly defense there, but that makes sense. You know, is there any running backs you think we should have picked? Marshawn Lynch, possibly.
Man,
You could run the
biggest
motherfucker
guy I think it
down.
was Derrick Henry, but
Yeah.
even then, I don't know, man.
Maybe I should have picked Lamar. Lamar could break the gorilla's ankles. Can you imagine the gorilla trying to get his hands on Lamar? Bro, you can't tackle that guy. Do you know what I mean? Lamar can make that guy's ankle pop. Whoa. Gorilla, bro, the gorilla's probably never felt an ACL tear before. He's probably going to think, what the hell has happened here? Meanwhile, James Harrison stood behind him, staring down at him, about to just knock his head off, bro. Hey, I like it. I think we're winning. We don't even need 100 men. We just need the 10 or 11 we've just drafted there. Let us know in the comments below. Who do you think we should have included in our 10-man to take on the gorilla? Do you think 100 regular guys could take on a gorilla? Do you think you could? Let us know in the comments below. And I completely forgot this was even an NFL draft video. Let us know in the comments your favorite player that's been drafted. That's probably what I should have said first. Let us know your team, where you're watching from. That's a good question. Where are you watching from? I want to know. I'm from Liverpool in the United Kingdom. If you couldn't tell by the voice, the accent, you're probably thinking, in fact, if people have watched this far in the video, they probably can't even understand a single word I've said, Q. You've been translating the whole time for them. If this is your first time listening to me, you're probably thinking, what the hell is this guy saying? What the hell? You understood that though, didn't you? What the hell, Burton? What the hell, Brian James? Lakers in 5. I can't say that anymore. We got beaten 5 by the Timberwolves, and I'm very sad about it. But stay tuned for more sports videos on the channel. I was going to do some NFL playoffs. Stay tuned for more sports videos on the channel. I was going to do a video on the NBA playoffs, but by the time I did, it was too late, and my bracket's already ruined because the Pistons got beat. They got pissed on. The Clippers got beat. Shout out to all the Clippers over on twitch.tv, though. Follow me on twitch.tv, link down below. You see the way I make these segues? Like it's nothing. But I could talk all day. Q, anything to add so we can wrap the video off?
No, I'm just looking forward to the season. I know it was voluntary OTAs today, so that's why Crab's not here. I'm the rookie of the group, so I had to be here mandatory. But we'll get the whole gang back here next time, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's funny you mention that because Kirk Cousins, his guy as well, turned up to the voluntary sessions where he couldn't even. But now it's all love. Key will be back hopefully for the next video. We're going to do predictions for the division winners. Probably going to wait and see if there's a few more trades that happen before we do that video. For now, enjoy. I was going to say enjoy gambling. Didn't even mean to say that. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Football season will be back before you know it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Nameless country. Let's ride. That's the new outro right there. We've got it locked. We're going to have to all do the let's ride together as an outro, by the way, once Key comes back. We're going to have to work that in. And Duval. Every time we say that, it's got to be in unison. But yeah, man. Yeah. That's the end of the video. I can't stop talking. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Nameless country. Let's ride. Oh, Q, come on, man. You were supposed to join in there, bro.
Let's ride.
Okay, there we go. I'll edit it in so we're on top of each other. Whoa.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be
Pause. But yeah, man. That's it. Take it easy, people, man. Oh, bro. I can never wrap videos. I just have too much to say. But nothing at all. Like, for real, what do I even be saying? Nothing. But I just look at... I say nothing, then look at the screen, and I've been talking for 30 minutes.